I'm going to evaluate a course that I myself have taught and am going to teach again. I'm doing this not because I'm an egomaniac, but because this is the first course I've ever taught online and I've never evaluated it. I'm going to teach it again this summer and I want to do better, and so I would really like to take a look at it and see where I need to improve on it. The course is ESL 6611. It is a 2-credit graduate course called Technology in Language Teaching. It's an elective course, and it's important to note that there is really no tech help at the institution where it is taught. Here's a quick look at the site. We will see this more in depth in just a moment. A little bit about the instructor of the course. It was taught by me. I had never taught an online course before or even taken an online course. I'd previously co-taught a face-to-face week-long K-16 institute on the topic, so I knew about the subject matter somewhat. And most importantly, I had friends with online teaching experience, and I threw myself on them and asked their help in designing the course. This was important. So I'm going to evaluate my course against Doering's 9.5 Principles of Text Transformation, which we saw in his InTED talk, which are to design experiences, not products, build trust, learners as designers, learners as experts, collaboration and discourse, aesthetics, self-narrative, TPAC, innovative pedagogy, and design as a learner. Let's take a look at our course in depth. So without further ado, let's take a look at this class. So this is ESL 6611. It is an all-online 6-week summer course that I taught in 2014 for the first time. I taught it again in 2015, and I'll teach it again this summer, 2016. Let's evaluate it against Doering's 9.5 Principles of Tech Transformation. And the first principle is design experiences and not products. So how does this course measure up? Well, I think it's okay for designing experiences. What students need to do in this class is create projects that they will use with their students. And so they would need to design a lesson. Here, let's look in week 3, maybe. They would need to design a technology-enhanced lesson that they can use with their own students, usually K-12, sometimes K-16 students. And so here, this week, they would need to create a lesson using Google Suite or Google Apps that they could later use with their students. So I think it does all right because I was not interested in the product, the end product, but really in creating a lesson that would matter for my students and in turn their students. Building trust. How well does this site build trust? I think it does okay here also. We have a message board, we have forums, we have a Q&A forum, student lounge, which was not very well participated in, some tech talk, introductions for which we used Flipgrid along with just text introductions. And so it was very nice to interact with students that way. Principle number 3, learners as designers. The students created the input. Absolutely. In this class, students had to do these projects and then they had to comment on each other's projects. So all the input in the course came from the students. And I wasn't so interested in them doing exactly what I said. I didn't tell them that they had to do a project using Audacity. It was rather that they would have to do a project for which students had to record their voice, and their choice of software was largely up to them after I gave them some information about it. And so I was always interested in what the students came up with. They knew more about this than I did about, I don't know everything about ed tech, especially in K-12. And so for point number 3, learners as designers, the students were creating the input. Also, point number 4, learners as experts, same thing. Students were experts in their world. They knew what their students needed, and so I relied on them for that. If you're interested in taking a look at where the students posted their information, we actually had a wiki on which the students posted their own blogs. And so on their blogs is where the students would put it's where the students would put their projects. The reason I chose blogs is because that would be something the students could access after they had left the course. If they had left the university, they might not have access to Blackboard any longer, but they would always have access to their own blog. So this is where they would post their assignments. And this is where their classmates would comment on their assignments. Point number 5, collaboration and discourse, students taking part in the conversation. I feel like this was accomplished through the discussions that I just showed you. And I was very happy with the amount of healthy discussion that the students engaged in throughout the 6 weeks of the semester. Point number 6, aesthetics. Students want to be there. Oh God, no. I don't like Blackboard at all. And I look at this course and I think, oh gosh, it's not clear what students need to do. It's not really clear what the objectives are. I tried to do the best I could by putting a Start Here tab. But that said, I would like to use a more aesthetically appealing frame for this course. Since I'm an adjunct at this university, I don't know what sort of status I have. And also the tech support at this university is sadly non-existent. I have not found any instructional designers there yet. So I would love to house it in Moodle or in Ning, but I'll check and see what sort of options I have for this summer. Point number 7, self-narrative. Students are part of the story. I think this does okay here in that the students are creating all the content, and so it might not be a journey for them, it might not be the mythic journey, but hopefully it's still, they still feel like they are part of the story. Point number 8, TPAC, optimum use of technology, pedagogy, and content. Again, here I let students choose the technology that they were most comfortable with, and so hopefully they did not feel alienated by the technology that was required of them. I must note that this is a course in technology in language teaching, so I expected them to use tech to create their projects. That was one of the course requirements, but I did not require exactly which tech to be used, so students could go on the high-tech end of things or the low-tech end of online module creation. It was up to them. Number 9, innovative use of pedagogy, using pedagogy to involve the learner. Again, I think the course does okay here because pedagogy, it does all right here because the students are creating modules that they themselves will teach. And so it really is a combination of pedagogy and technology here. And then finally, point number 9.5, the most important point, design as a learner. Would I want to be part of this course? I think aesthetics aside, yes, I would, because I think that this is a valuable course that I did not create the course. I worked with it, but I didn't originate it. But I think it's important for teachers to know about best practices using technology, teaching language. This is a specialized course for language teachers. It falls in the ESL department, but it would be open to any language teacher. I try to keep it so it's not just ESL centric. Here you see we begin with an introduction to CALL, computer assisted language learning. Then we move on to different ways you can use CALL. There's blogs, wikis, and social media. In week 2, week 3, Google Suite and Google Apps. Week 4, audio and video, which is a pretty huge week. Week 5, video and digital storytelling. There's some overlap between week 4 and week 5. And then week 6 is, a wrap up, bringing it all together, and a look ahead at the digital generation and the flipped classroom. So I think that I would want to be here, and although not in Blackboard. And I look forward to revising the course this semester so that it can be something that serves my students and in turn their students in the future. So that's all. Thank you.